All right, y'all, let's get ready for some real talk about video games. Today we're wrestling with a question that's got folks hotter than a June bug in a pickle jar. Is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 a Christian video game? Now, it's set in medieval Bohemia, which last time I checked had a whole lot of church going on. But does that make it a Sunday school simulator? Let's mosey on down and find out. Hey there, gamers and good old boys. It's your pal, MrHotTake, back at it again. Gaming since '89, bringing you hot takes to save your time. And today we're digging into something deeper than an old well in Texas. What is a Christian video game? And is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 a Christian video game? I mean, is it just got crosses and hymns, or does it gotta have Henry the hero praying before every boss fight? Well, we're gonna figure that out. And let me tell you right now, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, while it's got more church bells than a Baptist convention, ain't what I'd call a Christian game. It's like Lipton sweet tea. It's got all the ingredients, but it ain't the real deal. Now, how do we define a Christian video game? For me, it's more than just a sprinkle of Jesus dust. A real Christian game in my book needs to have at least a couple of the following. 1, be preaching the good word like a televangelist on a Sunday morning. 2, have characters who are so pure they make angels look like heathens. 3, have gameplay that's all about loving thy neighbor, even if he's an orc.
Christians.
Fresh.
And 4, and probably most important, be made with the express purpose of spreading the good gospel, not just making a quick buck. Kingdom Come, well, bless its heart, let's take a look. Picture this, medieval Bohemia. It's like Europe, but with more mud and less indoor plumbing. Churches are everywhere, bigger than a Walmart supercenter. Folks are praying more than they're bathing. This game nails the look, I'll give them that. It's like walking through a history book if history books smelled like horses and incense. But just because it's set in Church Central doesn't mean it's a church game. It's like saying a Western movie is promoting vigilantism just because it's got saloons and 10-gallon hats. If you think about it, immersing gamers, watchers, and readers into the life of folks in different periods of history is one of the most common settings for media. And believe me, almost all of human history and culture has been dominated by one religion or another. Gamers should be well aware of this. Look at Assassin's Creed. Them son of a guns love throwing us into historical settings. They've done everything from the Crusades to the Renaissance of Italy. Lots of churches, lots of crosses, lots of sneaky stabbing behind the altar. But just cause there's some monks running around don't qualify players to get their degree in religious studies if they beat the game. It's more like history with a dash of ninja sprinkled on top. Another example could be the Pillars of the Earth. It's a big old book and a mini-series and a board game too. It's about building a cathedral in medieval England. Lots of talk about God, but mostly it's about power, politics, and steamy romances, kinda like a church potluck. Kingdom Come Deliverance is the same vibe. Henry, our main man, is a blacksmith's son who gets caught up in some royal rumble. There's kings and knights and backstabbing, the usual medieval shenanigans. Now, faith is there, sure, but it ain't the point. It's like barbecue sauce on ribs. It adds flavor, but it ain't the meat. Take a look at the movie The Name of the Rose. Now this one's a real head scratcher. Scottish James Bond plays a friar who's basically Sherlock Holmes in a robe. There's a mystery in a monastery, and it's got all the religious trappings you could ask for. If that sounds like a wild ride you'd like to be on, a game that's similar to this movie is Pentiment, where the player is submerged into a high-profile murder in a small village in South Germany in the 16th century. It helps the player experience how religion intertwined with culture on a level equal to Kingdom Come Deliverance, and how this culture influences the main character's, Andreas Mahler's, investigation. Neither of these stories ain't really about faith. It's about logic, about reason versus superstition. It's like a pig calling contest at the county fair, but with less pigs and more Latin.
Come on, pig! Come on, piggy!
These characters in Kingdom Come Deliverance are messier than a toddler's diaper. Henry's a good old boy, but he ain't no saint. He can steal, he can fight, he can probably outcuss a sailor. And don't even get me started on some of the other folks. They're drinking, gambling, and chasing skirts like they're in a speakeasy. Real Christian, huh? You see this trope all the time in our mediums. A priest who wrestles with his faith, or a nun who's got a secret crush on the blacksmith. It's like they're saying, even folks in the church ain't perfect, which, let's be honest, we already knew. It ain't about glorifying the church, it's about showing that even holy folks are just regular people too, with regular problems, just with heavier clothes. The fights in Kingdom Come Deliverance ain't about good versus evil normally. They're about who gets the biggest slice of the pie. It's like a family feud at Thanksgiving, but with swords. Sure, some folks might use religion as an excuse, but at the end of the day, it's all about power and land, just like politics today, am I right? So just like the first Assassin's Creed game, we have the movie Kingdom of Heaven, starring the elf from Lord of the Rings. This movie's got crusades, knights, and enough religious fervor to fuel a revival. But the conflict ain't just Christians versus Muslims. It's more complicated than that. It's about politics, greed, and different cultures clashing. It's like a family reunion where everybody's got a different idea about how the potato salad should be made.
What?
It seems years since I've seen a woman eat.
Now, Kingdom Come's themes are more about revenge, social injustice, and finding your place in the world. It's a coming-of-age story set in a time when coming of age meant dodging plague and getting stabbed. Faith is part of the backdrop, but it ain't the main event. It's like the fiddle in a country song. Important, but not the whole shebang. What? Well, I don't even know if that's a good example. That Mouskowitz fellow sure could rile up the whole village just playing his fiddle. Hey. That's besides the point. Let's think about Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Now that movie's got knights, castles, and more talk about God than a Sunday sermon, but is it a religious movie? Heck no. It's hilarious. It uses all that medieval stuff, the knights, the quests, even the Holy Grail itself, for laughs. The point ain't about glorifying the church or preaching the gospel. It's about silly walks, killer rabbits, and coconuts. Just like Kingdom Come Deliverance, Holy Grail uses a religiously charged setting to tell a completely different kind of story. And this story's about Henry, his struggles, and his journey, not necessarily about converting folks or preaching a specific doctrine. It's more about getting even with the bad guys than getting right with the Lord. The player gets a Henry's point of view. We see things through his eyes. He's just a regular fella trying to make his way. The game ain't pushing Christianity on anyone. It's just doing what many gamers play games for. Immersion. And Kingdom Comes takes it to a whole nother level. It's showing us what Henry sees, and what he sees is a whole lot of stuff that ain't exactly church approved. And the biggest part of this point of view is that the player gets to make these decisions for Henry. It's not just Henry's story, it's the player's story too. The player will bring their outside of the story context into Henry's life. The game's tone is gritty and realistic. It ain't sugar-coated. It shows the good, the bad, and the downright ugly of medieval life. It's like a history lesson that's actually kind of fun, even if it does make you want to take a bath afterwards. The game looks great, I'll give it that too. The churches are beautiful, the countryside is purty, but all that fancy scenery don't make it a Christian game. It's like calling a mule a racehorse. It might look kind of similar from a distance, but you ain't gonna win no Kentucky Derby with it. So there you have it. Kingdom Come Deliverance is set in a Christian world, but it ain't a Christian game. It's like a Western movie set in Texas. It's got the setting, but it ain't necessarily about Texas. Oh, who am I kidding? It probably is about Texas. What the heck is wrong with my analogies today? Anyways, it's using that historical backdrop to tell a story, just like a good old country song tells a story about heartbreak and beer. Now I want to know what you think. What makes a game a Christian game? Do you think Kingdom Come Deliverance is a Christian game? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, keep your powder dry and your faith strong. But don't expect every game with a church in it to be a sermon on a screen.